Yesterday, this representation of the youth to the Sangguniang Panlungsod has been assailed with claims that, if proven true, will completely tarnish the good reputation that she earnestly tries to maintain and uphold. This representation clearly does not seek to silence opposition and criticism, as it is one of the tenets that our democracy, that our city is founded upon. Yet too common in these times are wolves wrapped in sheep's clothing, lies that are cloaked in the mantle of legitimate criticism and dissent. It is in the same interest of democratic principles that this representation should deny the accusations made. This representation does not enjoy arrogant power to coerce nor enjoy any indulgence in influence. I have always been one with the city in forwarding the goals of youth empowerment by providing and creating opportunities, especially for education, leadership, and governance. Yet I am maligned, put on the gallows to be tried by the public, hurled with cancerous claims and lies. If any of the accusations are true, why have the naysayers stayed silent for the longest time? Why haven't they sought legal action, an excellent way to secure justice or achieve any of the outcome expected, specifically removal from office? Are these legitimate criticisms or mere dirty politicking? This representation admittedly can do more, putting to mind the regard on time since the beginning of taking oath. In the previous Sanggunians and as early as 2019, I have been religiously promoting and pursuing sports tourism in the city, not just because of the leverage and social and economic benefit it may bring, but because we want to instill in the minds of the youth the importance of the cliché, physical health, and mental wellness. I introduced and proposed ordinances which aim to strengthen the sports program of the city, not to mention Ordinance Number 2022-106, namely the Naga City Sports Development Council Ordinance. This ordinance initially had declining appreciation in the realms of social media, with the issue that it had already been proposed and approved several years ago. But with all due respect and high regard to the previous authors, aren't ordinances meant to be transcending and evolving through time? For because of the passing of time, there are and there will always be provisions which may have already gone obsolete. For which I also thank the Sangguniang members for the undying support, patience, and guidance that the said ordinance was already passed last December 6, 2022. In addition, the Naga City Inter-Barangay Sports Fest Ordinance that for the longest time in the sports history of the city, the ordinance was rigorously being pushed forward. This ordinance had undergone series of committee and public hearings. The same ordinance have already been passed in the Sangguniang Panlungsod level but has been vetoed by the mayor on the issue of upholding the principle of checks and balances. This representation wholeheartedly accepted the constitutional question, and instead of seeking for overriding the veto, this representation resorted to take further and necessary action on the vetoed policy. What this representation could not accept is the off-tangent comment raised by one of the invited guests in the recent committee hearing held last week about the request to delay the passage of the ordinance for the reason that this representation is already ending her term in a few months' time. I disagreed with the idea and manifested that the ordinance be passed all the more, especially that the sports season is about to begin again. Despite this, I am committed to serving, showing resolve and determination amidst the adversity by taking challenges one at a time. In the recently concluded trial, guised as SK meeting and dialogue with the mayor, organized by the opposition, and which I would say had put me not in the best position to put forward my side of the issues thrown against me, to defend myself and my credibility, and which I would say had gone so wrong in many levels. In the same meeting, I introduced a proposal to amend Ordinance Number 2019-021, or otherwise known as the SK Empowerment Ordinance, relative to the issuance of the IRR of RA 11768 or the SK Governance Reforms and Compensation Law, providing SK members with honoraria that is also aimed towards leveling up youth leadership in the barangays. The same be moved to be included in today's agenda through the indulgence of this august chamber. Lastly, for the benefit of our fellow citizens, especially the youth, a group of Ateneo Law students had come to study with us Ordinance Number 2012-035, or the Naga City Youth Code, an ordinance geared towards providing a comprehensive youth welfare and development code for the city. And with this, I highly encourage and enjoin the youth of Naga City to be part of this historic policy change and implementation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kylie. Anybody else would like to avail of the privileged time? None? Next item.
Reading and approval of the order of business.
Honorable
Madam Chair, I
Del
move to
Castillo.
dispense with the reading of the order of business and move for the inclusion of the following items under special business or order. The letter coming from the office of the city mayor requesting for the passage of an ordinance extending the payment of business taxes, fees and charges from January 21 to January 31, 2023, and the securing of mayor's permit from January 1, 2023 to February 28, 2023 without penalties. Still under special business order, Madam Chair, a copy of resolution number 1, series of 2023 of the City Development Council, resolution requesting that our annual investment program be amended and include these items contained in this resolution. Under unfinished business, the report of the Committee on Public Utilities. Under new business, the letter coming from Mr. Mark Dominic Santo Tomas Abilindi of Carolina requesting that the city assist those residents thereat for the acquisition of property of Mr. Imperial. Still under new business, the technical evaluation submitted by the City Planning and Development Office with regards to the application of Mr. Nilson D. for rezoning of a parcel of land located at Barangay Concepcion Grande. Still under new business, the letter coming from certain Amalia Dadya o Barangay del Rosario. Still under new business, Madam Chair, the endorsement coming from the Office of the Budget Officer endorsing the annual budget of Barangay Piña Francia for calendar year 2023. Still under new business, the subject matter of the privilege speech of the Honorable Kylie Tripolca, entitled An Ordinance Amending Section 5 of Ordinance Number 2019-021, otherwise known as Sangguniang Kabataan Empowerment Ordinance for the provision of a monthly barangay honorarium to the Sangguniang Kabataan officials, including the Treasurer and Secretary. Under other matters, the letter coming from the American Concrete Institute, Council of Student Leaders of Naga City. And last, under other matters, Madam Chair, the copy of the activity report of the Metro Naga Chamber of Commerce and Industry for calendar year 2022. With the inclusion, Madam Chair, I move for the approval of the order of business.
Any second for the approval, the agenda with following inclusions is now approved. Next item.
Order of business, reading and approval of the minutes of the previous sessions.
Madam
Honorable
Chair,
Del Castillo.
I move to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the 12th regular session, the 14th held on September 27, the 14th regular session held on October 11, the 15th regular session held on October 18, the minutes of the 17th regular session held on November 2, together with the minutes of the 18th regular session held on November 8, the 22nd regular session held on December 13, and the minutes of the 23rd regular session of the 14th Sangguniang held on December 16, and move for its approval.
Any second? Okay, the minutes are now approved.
Special,
item.
special business or order, the letter dated December 28, 2022, from the City Legal Officer requesting for authority in favor of the City Mayor, the City Legal Office, and the City Enro to institute necessary case against certain business owners for violation of Ordinance Numbers 2008-53 and 2004-109. The anti-noise ordinance.
Madam Chair,
Honorable Rosales?
the City Legal Officer is requesting na mag-file po ng kaso, requesting for the authority for them to file the case for violation of the anti-noise ordinance. However, Madam Chair, I believe attachments should have been made. For example, were there reports submitted to the city as to the complaints received by the Senro? May po mga attachments eh. I think it would be more prudent for us to seek more information before we give the authority to the City Legal Office and the City Mayor to file the necessary case. It's just a mere request without the attached information as to the violations.
What violation? Baka noise violation. Itong Honorable Del Rosario.
Sir, I think we have plenty of time. Siguro we can probably invite Attorney Urbina to shed light, then ma-dispose na yung ano.
Pero ang Enro ang nagpadara kang ano.
Legal
Opo,
officer.
pero ang
Legal.
nag-ano
Paki-
itong
ano,
violation, baka ang Enro ang may paano day daw.
At least mahaputan na po siya, Madam
Sige,
Chair.
kasi, so we request the presence of
Attorney.
for temporarily. Pa-invite si Attorney Urbina. Next item.
The letter dated January 5, 2023 of Mr. Rico Vinloan, Librarian 4, Raul S. Rocco Library, submitting a copy of the deed of donation executed by Mrs. Sonia M. Rocco in favor of the city, involving a utility vehicle to be used by the city library for outreach and barangay program for ratification.
May pigyan pa kitang MOA kaya? May inano pa kita, may... Oo, may ba nakatanong? Honorable Del Rosario.
Din may attachment itong ano? May attachment
ibang
si
attachment.
MOA.
Oo, si MOA. Ratification ini request eh. Oo, yan na.
Paki-check daw tabi din sa pinaka-last part. Sige. Okay.
Okay.
So, on joint and collective motion, Madam Chair, we ratify the same.
On joint and collective motion, Honorable Del Castillo.
There is no previous authority granted to the mayor. I think the resolution should be confirmation and ratification
And
of this
ratification.
deed of donation.
So, in joint and collective motion, na motion for the confirmation and ratification is approved.
Madam Chair,
Honorable
may
Rosales.
I also move for the resolution on joint and collective for an expression of gratitude
Yes,
to
thanking
Madam Sonia Rocco
thanking
for the said
Mrs.
donation.
Sonia Rocco. So, in joint and collective motion, resolution of thanks and gratitude to Mrs. Sonia Rocco. Next
The
item.
letter dated January 9, 2023 of the Honorable City Mayor requesting for the passage of individual resolutions expressing thanks and appreciation to Senator Sangara, Revilla, Villanueva, and Go for their support to the development trust of the present city administration by providing assistance for securing the necessary funding for the implementation of certain priority infra projects.
On joint and collective motion, individual resolutions with the... On joint and collective motions, approved. Next item.
The letter dated January 12, 2023 of the Honorable City Mayor requesting for the passage of an ordinance authorizing the implementation of the fourth tranche of the 2019 Salary Standardization Law and the DBM Local Budget Circular Number 149 dated January 10, 2023.
Honorable Albios.
Chair, may I move on joint and collective motion for a passage of an ordinance authorizing the implementation of the fourth tranche of the 2019 Salary Standardization Law as mandated by Republic Act Number 1146, otherwise known as the Salary Standardization Law of 2019 and Department of Budget Management Local Budget Circular Number 149, dated January 10, 2023, and effecting the necessary budgetary reversions totaling 13,712,568 pesos. And also included in the ordinance is the fixing of the salaries of public health workers at 95% of the salaries of the first-class cities and provinces. So move, Madam Chair.
On joint and collective motion.
Joint and collective.
Honorable Del Castillo, comment or...
Yes, Madam Chair, comment. The implementation should take effect January 1, 2020.
2023. So the ordinance, it should be stated that it is effective January 1, 2023. On joint and collective motion, approved. Next item.
The proposed resolution of the Honorable Joselito S. Del Rosario congratulating and commending Jerwin Roy Villacruz of Ateneo de Naga University for being hailed as the most outstanding Jose Rizal model student of the Philippines.
Honorable Del Rosario.
Madam Chair, the Supreme Council of the Knights of Rizal, which was started under Republic Act 646, selects the finalists for the search for most outstanding Jose Rizal model student every year. Last year, 2022, out of the 10 national finalists, Mr. Jerwin Roy R. Villacruz came out on top and ranked first during the annual search. He is a city scholar, a consistent city scholar of the Naga City Government, and a student of Ateneo de Naga University. We express our utmost appreciation and gratitude to this feat of Mr. Villacruz. With this, Madam Chair, on joint and collective motion, we congratulate and commend Mr. Jerwin Roy R. Villacruz of Ateneo de Naga University for being hailed as the most outstanding Jose Rizal model student of the Philippines. I support, Madam Chair.
On joint and collective motion, approved. Next item.
The endorsement dated January 16, 2023 from the Honorable City Mayor requesting for extension of payment without penalty of business taxes, fees and charges from January 21, 2023 to January 31, 2023, and the securing of mayor's permit from January 31, 2022 to February 28, 2023.
Honorable Del Castillo.
Madam Chair, by extending the period of renewal for business permit, our taxpayer will be given enough time. Although the law states particularly that the renewal should be during the first 20 days of the month of January, yet the Sangguniang Panlungsod or the Sangguniang concerned, whether it is municipality or city, is given the authority to extend if it is deemed necessary that the renewal be extended. In the last year, Madam Chair, we also did extend the renewal and securing of business permit without penalty up to January 31, 2022. So there is no difference between 2022 and 2023 in considering further that businesses in the city is just recovering from their losses due to COVID-19. I believe that we should grant the request. So if there are no more comments from my colleagues, on joint and collective motion, I move that we pass an ordinance extending the
Deadline of payment.
period of securing business permit without penalty from up to this January 31, 2023. And further, extending the period of securing the business permit, mayor's permit rather, up to February 28, 2023, also without penalty.
On joint and collective motion.
Joint and collective motion.
Approved. Next item.
The letter dated January 17 from the Honorable City Mayor requesting for the passage of a resolution approving the supplemental annual investment plan for 2023.
Honorable Kylie Tripulca.
Go back to the previous item. Just a typographical error, I guess, from January 31, 2023 to February 28, 2023.
2023. 2023 lang. Typographical. Okay, Honorable.
In my motion, Madam Chair, it was already corrected.
Already corrected.
The period is
January 30.
January 31, 2023
Yes.
to February 28, 2023.
Oo, sa
So
letter
it's
lang.
already corrected in the motion,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Del Castillo. Next item.
The request for resolution approving the supplemental annual investment plan for 2023.
Honorable Del Castillo.
Matter for the next regular session so that we can invite the City Planning and Development Coordinator to explain to us what are
So
the...
deferred for next session.
Yes, Madam Chair. Under item number 1 of unfinished business.
So deferred for next session.
Unfinished business, the report of the Committee on Housing and Settlements.
Honorable Jesse Albios, Chair of the Committee on Housing.
Good morning. Madam Chair, may I request acknowledgement of the report of the Committee on Housing and Settlements.
Your report is acknowledged.
The committee hearing was held on January 6, 2023, and 3 items were tackled. The first item is a letter dated December 12, 2022 of His Honor, the City Mayor, this city, following up action relative to the request for ratification of the Memorandum of Agreement executed between Enrique Lee and the City Government of Naga. May I proceed to the disposition, Madam Chair?
We proceed.
On motion of Honorable Vidal P. Castillo, duly seconded by Honorable Maria Corazon and Femio Flor, and Punong Barangay Elisa B. Carmona, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod the passage of a resolution confirming and ratifying the Memorandum of Agreement executed between the Enrique Lee and the City Government of Naga, subject to the submission of an annex to the MOA with the following inclusions. Number 1, condition for limitations for the maximum load capacity for the access road at 5 tons. And number 2, an annex transferring the last provisions of the first paragraph of the terms and conditions to the first party. Number 3, the inclusion of a provision that the price of the property that will be purchased by the Lee siblings will be based on the current fair market value as recommended by the City Appraisal Committee. And number 4, that a copy of the minutes of the consultation meeting conducted by HSDO Head Engineer Rolando Campillos be submitted to the City Legal Office. So move, Madam Chair.
Any second? Approved.
Item number 2 is a letter dated December 21, 2022, of His Honor, the City Mayor, requesting for authority to file an expropriation case for the property of Nelda de los Reyes, located in Barangay Santa Cruz, Naga City, for the purpose of socialized housing program of the city government. May I proceed to the disposition, Madam Chair?
You may proceed.
On motion of the Honorable Salvador del Castillo, duly seconded by Honorable Vidal P. Castillo, the committee resolved to defer the consideration of the matter and recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to, letter A, direct the City Assessor's Office through Mr. Cesar Maestrado to appraise and determine the total value of the property based on the prevailing fair market value of land and submit a copy of the report to the committee. B, direct the Housing Settlement and Development Office through Engineer Rolando S.I. Campillos to determine the number of beneficiaries of the property and submit a report to the committee. C, direct the executive through the City Administrator, Mr. Elmer S. Baldemoro, to determine the source of fund for the proposed expropriation and inform the committee of such information. So move, Madam Chair.
Any second? Approved.
Third item is a letter dated December 22, 2022 of His Honor, the City Mayor, requesting for authority to negotiate and enter into contract of sale or donation with Engineer Alex Bermundo and spouse with regard to a portion of land located in Sitio Salonggigi, Cararayan, Naga City for use as access road to Palmera Villages 1 and 2. May I proceed to the disposition, Madam Chair?
You may proceed.
On motion of the Honorable Salvador del Castillo, duly seconded by Honorable Vidal P. Castillo, Honorable Gil J. Rosales, Honorable Maria Conrasol M. Peñaflor, Punong Barangay Elisa B. Carmona, and Mr. Danilo Lodovize, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod the passage of a resolution authorizing His Honor, the City Mayor, to negotiate and enter into a contract of sale and donation with Mrs. Delia Bermundo et al. With regards to a portion of land located in Sitio Salonggigi, Cararayan, Naga City to be used as access road to Palmera Villages 1 and 2, subject to the application of the Sangguniang Panlungsod. So move, Madam Chair.
Any second? I approve.
That ends my report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Albios. Next item.
The report of the Committee on Culture and the Arts.
In the absence of the chair, who will render the report? Honorable Kylie Tripulca.
For the acknowledgement of the committee report on behalf of the chair.
You are acknowledged.
There is one sole business or item for the hearing held last January 9, 2023. Letter dated December 12, 2022 of Punong Barangay Rodrigo Agravante of Barangay Cararayan, this city, submitting documents on the proposed ordinance sponsored by Honorable Jose Perez, naming certain unnamed streets in their barangay. May I move to the disposition, Madam Chair?
You may proceed.
The committee resolved to report the matter to the Sangguniang Panlungsod as the committee of the whole for final disposition.
You may proceed. Matangit ya sa hold. Si ano mo ba? Okay, Honorable Del Castillo.
Deliberation of this matter, I brought the issue of completing the name and family name of the former punong barangay to identify who those persons are. My query is that deficiency already rectified in this proposed ordinance, Madam Chair?
Can we check the ordinance po? Yan. Yan po, Zone 1, ay pataas po. Zone 1, yung street names po are named after punong barangays. May flowers din po. But yung sa concern na ni Councilor Buddy del Castillo po, ayan. Yan na po yung full names nila. Pataas.
Salvador del Castillo.
Ban po.
Anastasia
Si iba kaya, Madam Chair, nakabugtak lang family name. Si Apin Street dapat nakabugtak Alvaro Apin. Yan si full name. Dahil Dakulon Apin,
Yan po, sa Zone 1B.
dapat ma-identify si
May buhay pa
Baguman
mapating
Sitintin,
apin.
Madam Chair.
Iyo po.
Si Atuli, Rogelio Atuli. Si De Loyola, si Rapin De Loyola. So dapat kumpleto si pangalan saka si family name to really identify the
Kung
the
arin
person.
talaga ang ano kaya.
Aday kabali dyan ang Salvador del Castillo dahil dahil managing kapitan sa Kararayan. Saka buhay pa pati buhay pa.
So we return this to the proponent for the necessary correction. Ay, Iguana? Ano na?
Day pa
Dahil
po.
pag gano'n, Madam Chair, may saro ako na.
Day pa po.
Pwede
Okay.
balik naman
Mayo
sa
pa mga
ordinance
ano
mismo.
manggiraray.
Last names pa rin po.
Last name manggiraray. Ang
Yeah.
suggestion ni Councilor del Castillo, ikaag si mga pangalan.
Dapat full name, Madam Chair.
Oo,
Full name.
full
Not
name.
just the family name.
Oo,
Opo.
baka itong del Castillo, baka ikaag Salvador del Castillo. Buhay pa man si Salvador del Castillo.
Buhay pa man. Baka itong Apin Street,
Oo,
Christine Apin.
buhay pa si Jess. Buhay pa man si... Baka ang maikaag, Tin Apin.
Kaya, naman Madam Chair, sa draft ordinance, I think the full name of the person should be indicated.
So we return this back
Opo.
to the proponent.
I'm afraid, Madam Chair, the comments raised by Councilor Del Castillo is not reflected in the facts and findings during
so
the
dapat ang
committee.
So
ang
dapat,
ordinance.
yes. So
Yeah,
dapat
Opo.
i-revise ka, Madam Chair, si
Okay,
proposal.
revise na lang si ordinance. Anyway, it was already taken up during the committee hearing
Yes.
and it was agreed upon by the members present.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
So, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Honorable Del Castillo. Thank you, Honorable Kylie Tripulca. Honorable Del Rosario. Daipa.
Madam Chair, I already see in the gallery Attorney MacGyver Orbina.
Yes. Can we
Referring
go
to the first item of the
Thank you, Honorable Del Rosario. Do we acknowledge the presence of Attorney MacGyver? So, rules are suspended. Arin ito. Itong item number 1 of the SBO. Attorney, it's with regards to the closure, ano yan? Filing of case against certain, ano yan, business owners. Ito man sa D-Hub, ano to? DYD Hub. Pakitaas daw, ano? Ayan, yan. Okay, the Honorable Rosales.
Yeah. Madam Chair, I requested the presence, Honorable De La Salle requested the presence of our City Legal Office, but I raised the matter of the absence of information or attachment as to the complaints that were received by the City Legal Office or probably the Senro. And siguro for future purposes, Madam Chair, dapat siguro kung ma-request ang legal office ng authority to file cases, bakol lang si request mismo. But if
Kasi
there are
the case
attachments
na
or more information,
si mga
it would be
violations.
better, Madam Chair.
Together with the violations. Attorney MacGyver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, honorable members, Madam Chair. With respect to this request, as provided po in the letter, the violation of these individuals relate to the anti-noise ordinance of the city, one of which is operating without the necessary soundproofing, and the other is emitting loud noise outside their establishments in violation of the ordinance. This request stemmed from the inspection report conducted by the City Environment and Natural Resources Office pursuant to a verbal complaint raised by Mr. Romeo M. Tapia. Ma'am, taas na po. Sige po. That is the inspection report, Madam Chair. And in action to that inspection report, which was, the inspection was conducted on October 14, 2022. In action to that report, the City Legal Office wrote the persons involved, the owners of the different establishments, for them to comply with the ordinance by installing soundproofing mechanisms in their respective establishments. Of those listed by the City Environment and Natural Resources, only 2 establishments complied, hence only 3 establishment owners were requested to be given authority to file cases po.
Si noise ordinance lang kasi because I've heard complaints about mayong mga security guards kaya paminsan pag may mga rumble, mayo tulos tapos nakakalaog ang iba nakakalaog ng may mga weapons sa ano. I do not cite may mga nahiling akong na may mga reklamo duman sa mga bako lang noise ordinance kaya lang daigaro nagreklamo formally pero saro yan sa mga nadadangog kong complaints sa mga diyan sa may especially digdi sa maigo sa may Peña Francia, di ba?
Yes po, Madam Chair.
May ibang complaint kundi sa noise ordinance lang.
Madam Chair, from the inspection report given to my office, only violations of the noise ordinance were found. I believe that the joint inspection team of the City Government of Naga makes regular inspections and they have not found violations regarding to security of the area. If there is such a concern, Madam Chair, maybe we can also check again during the next inspection if indeed there is a problem with respect to security po.
Kasi there was one parent na nagpaabot sa kuya. Nakaitong garo nabubugbog si aki niya, mayo man daang ay kitong kinukulugan si aki niya, mayo man daang security.
Nagresponde po.
Duman sa lugar. I will tell you the rest of our na pig reklamo kung arin dyan. Dahil ako pwedeng kaya.
Kabali po sa lista.
Kabali siya sa listahan. Pero bako duman sa tulong noise pagkakaya itong noise.
Ay, po. Yes po. Yes po, Madam Chair.
So, any comments from the other members? So, okay,
If
Honorable Rosales?
there are no more questions, Madam Chair, I move on joint and collective to grant the authority to our City Mayor, Legal Officer, and Senro. So move.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. And joint and collective motion. Approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Attorney
Chair.
MacGyver.
Thank you, Honorable
Itetext
members.
ko na lang sa imo.
Sige po. Thank you.
And then, I will ask the parent na mag-complain. Next item.
The report of the Committee on Education.
Committee on Education, Honorable Del Rosario, Chair of the Committee on Education.
Madam Chair,
Good
I move that
afternoon.
the Chair acknowledge the report of the Committee on Education.
Your report is acknowledged.
The committee hearing was held 6 January 2023. There was a quorum. Only one item was discussed. Letter dated November 24 of Mr. Delphine Villa Aguilar, Acting Head, ESO, submitting the request of Barangay Pacol for the passage of an ordinance renaming Pacol Elementary School to Loreto A. Manubay Elementary School. May I go directly to the disposition, Madam Chair? As to the disposition, the committee resolved to defer the proceeding for the compliance of the actions that are required. Letter A, the concerned stakeholders, proponents shall include in their respective resolutions, addendum,
Alis na kayo.
quote the prior contribution and the most important contribution of the family as the act of in the act of donation on the act of donating the property of the Manubay family. This was suggested by Councilor Gail Abunal Gomez. So the outstanding contribution of the family, as a matter of fact, the act of donating is already a manifestation of outstanding contribution. Letter B, it should be included in the addendum. Letter B, DepEd with the Barangay Council of Bacol will conduct dialogue with Engineer Manubay and Attorney Barosa as the administrator of the Manubay property on the supposed deed of donation as soon as possible. And we request that the committee be informed of the same. And letter C, that the Committee on Education and the Sangguniang Panlungsod will just await for the update of DepEd and the Barangay Council of Bacol on the said deed of donation. So these are the dispositions, Madam Chair. I so move, Madam Chair.
Any second comment, Honorable Rosales?
Additional disposition siguro, Madam Chair, because I was checking the guidelines on the change of name of schools. Nakalag po kayo, Madam Chair, sa guidelines and limitation. Article 23B, Article 23C and 4. A change in name of a local public school shall be made only upon the recommendation of the local school board. So perhaps, Madam Chair, we can also endorse this matter to the local school board for the appropriate action. In addition, Madam Chair.
In addition to disposition of the, if the chair
Yes.
will accede to the proposition of
Yes,
the,
Madam Chair. I thank Attorney Rosales for the reminder. As a matter of fact, we discussed that, Madam Chair, during the committee hearing, that a separate endorsement from the local school board be forwarded to the Sangguniang Panlungsod because these are one of the requirements. This is one of the requirements. Endorsement from the PTA, endorsement from the local school board for the Sangguniang to act on the matter. I thank Councilor Rosales for this. So we also include that in the agenda, in the disposition.
in the disposition, additional.
So thank you, Madam Chair. That's all.
Thank you, Honorable Del Rosario. Next item,
The report of the Committee on Land Use.
Committee on Land Use, Honorable Salvador del Castillo, Chair.
The report of the Committee on Land Use.
Your report is acknowledged.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the committee report of the Committee on Land Use held on January 11, 2023. Item number 1 is letter dated December 15, 2022 of Mr. Wilfredo Prillis Jr., City Planning and Development Coordinator, forwarding the technical evaluation of the document submitted by Engineer Rolando Campillos relative to the application for preliminary approval and locational clearance of the proposed San Isidro subdivision located at Barangay San Isidro, Naga City. Can I proceed directly to the disposition, Madam Chair?
You may proceed.
On motion of Honorable Joselito del Rosario, seconded by Honorable Milvin Ramon Buenafe, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to pass a resolution approving the application of Engineer Rolando Campillos in behalf of the City Government of Naga for preliminary approval and locational clearance of the proposed St. Isidore subdivision located at Barangay San Isidro, Naga City. So move, Madam Chair.
Any second?
Item number 2 is later dated December 15, 2022 of Mr. Wilfredo Prillis Jr., City Planning and Development Coordinator, forwarding the technical evaluation relative to the request of Mr. Noel Almendral for rezoning of a parcel of land located in Barangay Pakuldi City from residential to commercial use. Disposition on motion of Honorable Joselito del Rosario, seconded by Honorable Milvin Ramon Buenafe. The committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod for the conduct of a public hearing on February 1 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the Sangguniang Panlungsod Session Hall. In connection with this, Madam Chair, the SP Secretariat is hereby directed to invite all adjacent property owners, the barangay officials of Bacol and other concern. The listing of the property owners was already forwarded to the Sangguniang Panlungsod, Madam Chair. I think that's one of the items in today's calendar of business. So the Secretariat can just look at those property owners which should be invited together with the barangay officials of Pacol and other stakeholders. And considering, Madam Chair, that there is still one pending application for rezoning and reclassification, so that it should be at two birds in one shot. May I request that we include during February 1st public hearing the application of Mr. Oliban for reclassification of land located at Barangay Mabulo. And further, invite the barangay officials of Mabulo together with the property owner, adjacent property owners of the property, so that we will have two items during the February 1 public hearing.
So to this position, public hearing on
Yes,
February 1.
February 1, Madam Chair, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the session hall.
And to invite all the concerned.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, next item.
Item number 3 is later dated December 27 of Mr. Wilfredo Prillis Jr., City Planning and Development Coordinator, forwarding the technical evaluation with documents submitted by Mr. Richard Brutza, Vice President for Operations, LYRR Realty Development Corporation, relative to the application for preliminary approval and locational clearance of the proposed Dika Homes in Bira, located at Barangay Pacul, Naga City. Disposition on motion of Honorable Joselito del Rosario, seconded by Honorable Melvin Ramon Buenafe. The committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to defer the matter and advise the applicant to comply with the deficiencies as noted by the City Planning and Development Office on their application. So I move, Madam Chair, that we officially notify the applicant to comply with the deficiencies as noted by the CPDO.
So this matter is deferred.
Yes. With the directive that
With directive
we
to
notify officially the applicant of the
Advise the
deficiencies.
applicant as to the
Yes, Madam Chair.
necessary requirements.
Actually, Madam Chair, we advise already the staff of the City Planning and Development Office that as soon as they learn of any deficiency, they should already officially inform the applicant so that upon submission to us, kumpleto na si mga requirement. Item number 4 is letter dated December 27, 2022 of Mr. Wilfredo Prillis Jr., City Planning and Development Coordinator, forwarding the technical evaluation of the document submitted by Mr. Jose Blas Henson, Regional Administrative Officer of Jamaica Realty and Marketing Corporation, relative to the application for development permit of the Caceres Heights Resort Subdivision Annex, located at Barangay Pacul. Disposition. On motion of Honorable Joselito del Rosario, seconded by Honorable Ramon Melvin Ramon Buenafe, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to defer the matter pending completion of all the lacking requirements. So I move that we defer consideration of this, Madam Chair, and we officially notified the applicant of their lacking requirement.
Any second? Okay, this matter is deferred.
Item number 5, Madam Chair, is the letter dated December 15, 2022 of Mr. Mark Pardiña, Chief Operations Officer, Enjoy Realty and Development Corporation, responding to resolution number 2022-627, which required the company to respond to the evaluation report of the City Planning and Development Office on ARDC's application for alteration of development plan for Parkview Executive Townhomes located at San Felipe, Naga City. Disposition on motion of Honorable Lito del Rosario, Duly seconded, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to refer the matter to the City Planning and Development Office and the City Engineer's Office for their technical evaluation and to submit the written response within 10 days from January 11. So move, Madam Chair.
Any second? So this matter is referred to the CPD,
In the City Engineer's
City
Office.
Engineer's Office.
Yes.
Next
Last
item.
item, Madam Chair, is the letter dated December 22, 2022 of Ms. Susan Bermejo, submitting the vicinity map of the road right-of-way she intends to donate to the City Government of Naga located at Zone 1, Panikwaso, Naga City. Disposition on motion of Honorable Omar Buenafe. Duly seconded, the committee resolved to recommend to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to refer the matter to the City Planning and Development Office in the City Engineer's Office for their evaluation and recommendation. So I move, Madam Chair.
Any second? So referred to the CPDO and City Engineer's Office. Next.
That ends my report, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Honorable Del Castillo. Next item.
The resubmission of the 2023 annual budget of Barangay Lerma with the corresponding corrections.
Ano si Honorable Albios? Ano takay? Kahit na-approve ang inot.
Okay, Madam Chair, may I move on joint and collective motion for the passage of a resolution approving the 2023 annual budget of Barangay Lerma de City in the amount of 3,901,776 pesos only. So move, Madam Chair.
Any second? Okay, approve. Next item.
The presentation of the proposed I Engage Ordinance introduced by the Ateneo de Naga University College of
Honorable
Law
Rosales.
and sponsored by Honorable Rosales.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pending for its approval on second reading is the proposed ordinance entitled I Engage Ordinance. Okay. So, what are its objectives? To put simply, ang objective po kang ordinansa is to further promote people participation and enhance our city's transparency and accountability mechanisms. So yan po ang two main objectives kayong ordinansa. Now, the next question would be important to answer. Do we need this ordinance? Kayo po anta na ba ining ordinansang iniyo? To answer that, I think it should first be important for us to look at the present circumstances of our city's legislative process. Ano ang ginigibot sa presente? Okay, next slide please, Dean. Okay. At present, ang legislative, pwede man get full view? Okay. So at present, participation in the city's legislative process is confined with accredited civil society organizations. So kung if you're not a member of an accredited CSO or part of the NCPC, then you don't have a seat in the Sangguniang Committee, or formally, the participation is really with the recognized People's Council through the representatives of the NCPC. Now, the problem with that is it is too confined. There are many organizations not accredited with NCPC. There are many people who would not opt to join organizations at all, but who would be interested to take part in the city's legislative process, to give comments, suggestions, or other remarks on proposed measures. And another problem is if we are not able to always ensure that the NCPC is truly representative of the Naga City constituency. One example I would give is in the NCPC, there is only one youth organization accredited by the NCPC. But there are many youth organizations in the city of Naga. So that I would say would be a problematic situation if we are to confine participation with accredited CSOs. So yan po ang present situation ta. The next slide, please. Okay. Another situation, another present situation of the city's legislative process is the posting of ordinances, resolutions are limited to selected ordinances and resolutions. If we limit the posting of ordinances, resolutions, then transparency and accountability is undermined because only selected ordinances and resolutions are posted. What about the others? Why are they not posted? Why are they not accessible to our constituents for them to see, for them to peruse? So, okay. Yan po ang present. And another present situation is live streaming is also limited to regular sessions of the Sangguniang Panlungsod. What about the committee meetings or public hearings which constituents might be interested to attend to or to observe at least? So those are the three present situations or circumstances that we have in the city's legislative process. So ano po ang proposal kang ordinansa? The first is publication. Publish all proposed ordinances and resolutions. Proposed ordinances. Paano po? May tulong modes ang suggested by this ordinance. In a website, ginigibutan na po yan, kaya lang limited. So, website, social media, or public information boards or emails. Any of those. Pwede man print copy or soft copy to barangays through assigned focal persons and through social media page. Ang hapot, kay Puan Bayan Gabos Day po, maski saro lang dyan. Pwede nga ning posting lang sa city's website. So that's the first proposal. Ang present na pong ginigibo, only approved ordinances and resolutions are posted. Now, proposed pa lang, referred sa committee, we show it, we post it to the city's website. Ginigibo na ba yan? Ginigibo po yan. You look at the Senate website, ginigibo po yan. Can we show it? The next slide. Sige, sarap pa. Sige, sarap pa. Sige, sarap pa. Ayan. Hindi pa, sarap. Sorry. Baba pa. Ayan. So, ginigibo na po ba yan? Sa Senate website, even sa Congress website, sa lower house, pag pwedeng i-zoom, so padakalaon yan din yan. Yan. Pag hiling mo po sa Senate website, all resolutions, Republic Acts, bills, journals, committee reports, adopted resolutions, yan pong taas resolution, proposed resolution pa lang po yan. Pag adopted na si resolution, still posted. Okay. So, yan. Treaty statistical data. If you click yan, adopted resolution, sige daw, click mo daw yan. Pagiling mo po sa Senate website, you will even see, magpinit kang yan, 38, pinutin mo yan 38. 36, mas kaya rin dyan. If you press an adopted resolution, bako, sorry. Duman pa lang kita sa resolution. Pag adopted kaya approved na siya eh. Duman na lang tin sa slide ko kasi may tig-prepare na ako duman. Sa baba. Yan. Okay. Pag check mo po duman sa resolution, you will see the status of the resolution. You will see pending in the committee. And you will see the proposed resolution. Arag po kayo ang Senate website. Sa lower house, arag man po kayan. So can we do it? I think we can. We have resolutions, and kumbaga garo siya magiging legislative tracker where people will see ano ang status ng mga proposed or pending matters in the Sangguniang Panlungsod in the committee level. Okay, going back to sa taas ulit team. So yan po ang first proposal. The second proposal would be, okay, sige, sa baba. Okay, sige, hindi mo na kita. So we will publish proposed measures in the Sangguniang Panlungsod. The purpose, I mentioned already, for us to convey that we are open to their comments, suggestions, or remarks on proposed measures. Next slide, please. Will it be mandatory? In the ordinance, yes. Committee hearings should not be scheduled unless there is compliance of at least one mode of publication, and earnest efforts have been made to seek feedback from concerned sectors and constituents. So, paano po kung mayo man interesado mag-comment, mag-feedback, di okay lang, at least nag-publish kita, nag-comment kita. So next, so paano kung day sinunod, or day nasunod dahil nasisibot na urgent matter, we can't really comply with it, at least the posting, well, posting actually is very easy to do eh. Pero what if Mayo? A valid justification shall be included in the committee report why there was no compliance. And if the majority of the members thinks that this should go through consultation first, then we can vote to return it to the committee. But if the majority thinks that, okay, it's a valid justification, then the Sanggunian can forgo with the said requirement. So, okay. So yan po ang first proposal. Published proposed measures and the requirement on you have to comply if you don't post. Okay. The second proposal, actually pigsabi ko na, posting of all approved ordinances resolutions, including committee reports at the city's or SP website. We have an existing website. I just checked this morning. There are very, very few ordinances posted as compared to what we're actually doing in terms of our legislative performances. So next slide, please. So is it legal? Yes, they are public documents. It should be readily accessible to our constituents. Okay. So I showed the Senate website. In fact, I attended in one training I attended, they are suggesting a legislative tracker where constituents can have the same, can access the same system in local government units for them to see the status of proposed measures, even the committee reports. Okay, next slide. And the third proposal is the live streaming of sessions. Oh, no. Third proposal, live streaming of sessions. Next, sessions, committee hearings. That's an example. And public hearings. So that's the third proposal. Committee hearings, public hearings, and sessions. Okay. So is this implementable? Can we do it? The proposed ordinance to ensure implementation is proposing for the creation of a position, or initially at least a designation of a personnel to be assigned to perform this function. But in the ordinance, the position of local legislative officer, which I've consulted with the Human Resource Office, SG11, is being proposed, and an oversight body to formulate a plan and ensure execution. So the oversight body will determine kung ano itong mga kaipuhan na siguro there will be a need for additional equipment. I think a plan should be made for it to be a basis for future budget needs. Okay, next. Okay, so paano nag-come up ning aro po kaning ordinansa ang Ateneo College of Law? I initially mentioned that this was an original idea of students of Ateneo College of Law in Ignatian Legal Apostolate Office. Nagpuon po ini during it was the 25th year anniversary of the NCPC. think 2 years ago, or last 2 years ago, and 25th year. And we were thinking, what could we do to further step up to what we are already doing in the city government. We know that all over the Philippines, LGUs come to us to see kung ano ang ginigibota. And this is one thing that they thought about, that we, the city government, can do to further set the bar higher for good governance in the city of Naga. Okay, so next slide. Okay. So that's all for my presentation, short presentation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. Honorable Del Rosario.
If Attorney Rosales would like to entertain a few questions from this presentation.
Honorable Rosales.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I allowed Attorney Rosales and the Ateneo Group for coming up with this proposal. Is this being proposed for approval on second reading today?
Yes, pending before the yes, second reading po.
Second reading today.
Madam Chair.
Okay. Do we already have the final yung draft of the ordinance, or we refer to yung naunang pig-present?
Yeah, the final draft was already submitted and reported out from the committee,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, I remember, Madam Chair, because I stood up and suggested yung doon sa aspect ng referral to yung committees. First, Madam Chair, I subscribe to the idea of a more engagement of the citizenry. We really have to step up and ask them to participate in the dealings of the local government. I recall, Madam Chair, this is a kumbaga sa pag-level up kasi sa tuyang previous ordinance na was pirang taon na siya, 25 years ago or no. So meaning dahil kita nagpupundo, Madam Chair, to look for ways and means and to find new grounds para mag-excel kita sa local government, and this proposal is a very laudable proposal. Yung third aspect, yung output, na-subscribe din ako, Madam Chair, naman. Ang ano ko lang is yung how do we do it? Yung aspect ng how do we do it. Pero nahiling ko ngunya na igwala ning provision na actually mandatory siya na dapat i-subject sa consultation. Ang pinili ko lang hapot, Madam Chair, itong mga urgent na mga resolutions or ordinances na dapat na i-aktoran tulos kang Sangguniang Panlungsod, kung maipapasartain niyo, paano isya mag-merge duman sa na makasabay kita duman sa sense of urgency of any legislation na being proposed by any member of the Sanggunian or that being endorsed by the Office of the City Mayor. So, yan ang gusto kong ihapot, Madam Chair. Pero, generally, Madam Chair, I subscribe to this I-Engage ordinance.
Thank you. I thank the Honorable Del Rosario, Madam Chair. To answer, urgent matters, because of their nature, need to be acted upon immediately. So, because they are urgent, I would say this is one of the exceptions to the requirement. As provided in the ordinance, if the Sanggunian thinks that the justification is acceptable, then they can forgo with the necessity of further subjecting it to consultation if immediate action is needed. Madam Chair.
Naglaog sa isip ko na dahil daw ni additional layer of bureaucracy man sa legislative staff na igwa pang sarong layer na agihan. Just for the record na para igwa kitang
At present, Madam Chair, there is no personnel or staff in the SP Secretariat that is functioning in the same capacity as this being proposed. So the additional personnel is being proposed to be created. But there is another provision in the ordinance that in the initial months, if the personnel could not yet be, if the position could not yet be created or the staff could not yet be found, temporary personnel could be designated in the meantime.
Last, Madam Chair, yung oversight committee or group, Councilor Rosales, sa inyo malaog, the drafting of yung mechanics ba na mention mo na sa bago, or magre-review siya ng procedures na pig-lay down, na pig-implement na kaning ordinance ni?
May I request Dean to show the draft, the ordinance being proposed. The oversight body, which is the I-Engage Council, ang pinaka-importanting trabaho po ninda is really to identify what will be needed for this ordinance to be implementable. They'll identify the equipments necessary, the PPAs generally, which would be needed for budgetary purposes. Since baka kay po haning expert to do the better enhanced online system or website so that the Sangguniang could have a more accessible database online in our website. Baka kay po ang arog kayan. So I think the I-Engage Council, yan po ang pinakatrabaho ninda. And of course, aside from doing the plan, ensuring that slowly this is being implemented and it's coming to fruition. Another would be conduct surveys, propose policy amendments if necessary. Then there's a last letter E, I think, and other functions. So funding, it will come after the plan is done, and then taas po din, taas. And then the membership would be, yan po ang membership ng council, mayor, NCPC, People Empowerment Committee, Executive Director of JMR Center. Yan. So.
Last na lang, Madam Chair.
Honorable De Rosario.
Yes, I would like to thank Councilor Rosales. Nahiling ko dyan sa Section 7, yung duties of the I-Engage Council, yung letter C. I suggested that and I'm happy na naidagdag siya as one of the functions of the council. Okay. So, as far as this representation, Madam Chair, I'm willing to support the approval of this ordinance on second reading if there is a formal motion from the main author.
Thank you, Honorable Del Rosario. Honorable Del Castillo.
Oversight is to see to it that the appropriate offices or the offices in charge are implementing our approved ordinances. So I believe that there should also be a provision in the ordinance on the mechanism on how this ordinance will be implemented. Second point, Madam Chair, I agree that there should really be consultation, a broad-based consultation. But during the committee hearing, the result of the whatever feedback or comment that is submitted should be endorsed officially to the committee concerned, so that during the committee hearing, those comments can be discussed during the committee hearing. Because if not, the provision of this ordinance will come to naught. Bayan man sa magiging kamugtakan. So there should be also a mechanism for that. Para talagang kumpleto. And I really agree na dapat after 25 or 26 years, dapat mag-level up na si People Empowerment Ordinance. And this is one of those things na malibil up na kita. But we should also see to it that the proper mechanism are in place so that we can implement the ordinance as we desire. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Del Castillo. Honorable Rosales.
Yes, Madam
Motion.
Chair. The provision to ensure that the ordinance is being implemented is included as a function of the I-Engage Council, which shall conduct regular meetings to oversee and ensure the implementation. In addition to the oversight function of the Sangguniang, the I-Engage as a more specified body would be able to assist the Sangguniang in its oversight function. Another would be on the matter of the consolidation of the feedback to be submitted to the committee chairpersons. That's one of the functions, or that's one of the responsibilities of the I-Engage of the officer, the personnel, local legislative citizens engagement officer. Yan. So in the sa personal requirement, one of his responsibilities is to consolidate all the feedback, screen it out, those which are aram taman may mga feedback na not worthy of being paid attention to, but the citizens engagement officer will be submitting the consolidated feedback to the chairperson before the conduct of the committee meeting. That's why there's a time period that the posting should be at least 3 days before the conduct of the committee hearing. So that's one of the provisions of this ordinance.
Honorable Del Castillo. It's already 1:10.
The proposed ordinance is really commendable, Madam Chair. But considering our shortfall in revenue for 2023, I believe whether it will be passed this year, it cannot yet be implemented during the year 2023. Because first, we will be needing equipment for the purpose. We will be needing additional personnel that will handle the job. So, in the equipment and personnel will entail additional fund. Nagparatarabas nga ni kita for this year dahil austerity measure because of the shortfall in national tax allocation. So, maski maipasarta nito this calendar year, still, I think medyo masakit ma-implement 2023. Pwede siguro 2024 mag-provide ng additional funding for the implementation of this proposed ordinance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Pero sa personnel, ang ano lang the mayor can designate. Pwede siyang magkuha sa ibang offices.
Yes.
Designation,
Siguro,
mag-designate.
ma-realign kan, si function kan,
Ma-designate, yes.
personnel. But
Ma-designate.
Particularly sa Secretariat
funding,
kan Sangguniang, the feedback should, I think, dapat iguaning personnel ang Secretariat kan Sangguniang as far as the feedback is concerned. Takunhali pa sa ibang opisina, si coordination na naman ang problema dyan. Magkakaigwang problema sa coordination. Imagine, igwanganing mga sectoral representative na iday nag-attend during committee hearing. How much more? With sending of all the feedbacks. Dapat i-consider yan, Madam Chair.
So, Honorable Rosales.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair. Siguro padikit-dikit baka ma 100% ang implementation, because understandably funds are really scarce, and it is one of the realities that we have considered in the drafting of this ordinance. That's why we have suggested that in the case that the personnel as proposed is not yet created or appointed by the city mayor, then we could initially designate a personnel. Nakalag po. sa last part. So, yan po. Pero I understand na, like I said earlier, pa dikit-dikit, Madam Chair. We have many ordinances na are still to be implemented to its full extent. And I hope this would be one of those which we could already start. I hope if not this year, at least next year.
Oo, pero can we pass this without the necessary funding?
Yes.
Again? Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair. The funding provision does not propose any amount yet unless the I-Engage had already drafted and submitted its plan for approval by the Sangguniang.
So,
So,
Honorable Rosales, any other
yeah.
comments, observations, suggestion to the proponent? Honorable Rosales.
So,
Ay, Honorable, sabi mo last na kasubago.
On my part, Madam Chair, I think may mga bagong provision naman sa revised copy aside from the original one. So, dapat mataan-taman yung panahon. At least a week ang mga pag-iriba na ma-review ang content kaniyong revised proposal. Tangaring pag-approve ta, aram ta na kung ano si mga nakapalaman sa proposed ordinance. Iyon lang yan, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable,
I
Honorable
confirm,
Rosales.
Madam Chair. So, may I will be providing hard copies to the members of the
Perhaps
Sangguniang.
next session,
Yeah.
you can submit it before the next session. So this matter is deferred under unfinished business. So deferred.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. It's already ano nang oras? 1:12. We want to break for lunch? Okay, we break for lunch.